All right, guys, welcome to the video. If you're new here, my name is Curtis. So this week, the past 5 days has been all about rose fragrances. You guys know rose is one of my favorite notes in perfumery. And so yeah, I chose to wear a different rose fragrance for each day this week, Monday through Friday. And yeah, rose is one of those notes that I feel like is very versatile. You can wear any season, pretty much any occasion. Of course, there are different rose kind of profiles that might cater to different seasons or occasions a bit better than others. But you guys know that we're approaching winter fairly quickly here, and all of these work perfectly during this season that we're in. So I'd like to share these rose fragrances with you today. So if you're curious to hear my thoughts and opinions on these fragrances, then let's go. First up, from the house of Frederic Malle, we have Portrait of a Lady. So this fragrance right here has to be probably the most influential rose fragrance on my own personal fragrance journey. This is the fragrance right here that turned me on to the note of rose. I always saw rose as being kind of a feminine note, and I think a lot of people think like that, being from the West. There's kind of that image of like, oh, rose, you know, can I really wear this if you're a guy? And I was like that for the longest time. But finally, I gave rose a chance, and from that point, I was immediately hooked. And it just so happens that, I started with one of the best kind of rose patchouli fragrances in the game, being Portrait of a Lady. And this one was created by Dominique Ropion. Huge fan of his. He's one of those guys, perfumers who's been in this game for a long time. Literally can do nothing wrong in my eyes. And this is a masterpiece right here. But yeah, this is kind of a dark, almost slightly gothic take on rose and patchouli. You know, this is a unisex scent. I would say this is unisex right down the middle. This doesn't necessarily push feminine or masculine to me. I feel like that patchouli helps to kind of give this fragrance a bit of a slight masculine edge to it, but it's still unisex right down the middle. But man, what an intoxicating sillage trail that this one leaves. This one lingers in the air. It's quite dense and thick. But yeah, this is just a very spicy, deep red rose. That's what you get in here. It's beautifully done and extremely intoxicating and very, I don't know, it's just very seductive and exotic, in my opinion. One of my favorites, and it's definitely one to check out. All right, next up from the house of Maxime Perfume, we have Cologne de Gare. Yeah, so this is one of the newest releases from Maxime Perfume, and this is their take on rose and oud. Yeah, so this was a collaboration effort between Maxime Bortnikov and Chris Carbonell. So they came together, teamed up, and they created this fragrance. And you know, this is actually an extrait de parfum, so don't let the name fool you. Cologne, you know, I think a lot of people might see that or hear that and be like, oh, this is gonna be kind of a weak kind of fragrance, but it's definitely not. This is an extrait concentration, but I would say it wears more elegantly and intimately. You do get a moderate sillage and projection from this one, but it definitely has more of an elegant style of wear, and that's the style that I love. I love when fragrances wear elegantly. Part of that is because I live here in Japan, and loud fragrances, beast mode fragrances really don't have a place here. But the other part of that is that I'm just a bit older now, and I don't really like fragrances to announce their presence before I come in the room. I like people to catch like those subtle whiffs every now and then. But this is a spicy take on rose and oud, and you definitely get a little bit of that funkiness in here. There is a slight funky undertone in here, but this does have a spicy like character as well, and you do get a blast of citruses in the top, but that quickly fades, and you're left with this kind of spicy, almost clean, soapy like rose, and there's that, like I said, there's that tinge of like funky oud. But as you start to push into the dry down of this, that oud begins to subside, and you're left with like this soapy, very clean rose. So it's an extremely easy wear. But yeah, this is actually, Maxime launched this as a part of their signature line. So they have two lines. They have a heritage line and a signature line. And they both focus on the note of oud. So that's, one thing that I really love. When Maxime launched this line, he stayed true to, I guess you could say, almost like a theme in a way of the note of oud. But yeah, they have the heritage and signature line. If you think of the heritage line as more of like an artistic style of line, wearable artistic fragrances. And the signature line is a bit more kind of like everyday reach fragrances that you can easily wear in your day-to-day life. But yeah, I really enjoy this one, and this is a great one if you're looking for a rose oud fragrance that is very easy to wear in my humble opinion, and just extremely well executed. Next up from the House of Paris Monte Carlo, we have Rose de Taif extrait. So yeah, you guys know, if you've been following my channel for any amount of time, you know that this is my favorite rose fragrance in the game. You can see the dent that I've put in this, and I've had this fragrance for a few years, but you do not need a lot of sprays with this. I usually do 2 sprays, maybe 1 if I'm gonna be indoors, because this really pushes out, especially when your body starts to warm up. This really starts to project, and it leaves just the most gorgeous sillage. Really, really beautiful stuff. This is a very jammy, citrusy rose. You do have a little bit of patchouli in here, and also some musks. The musks start to push forward in the dry down here, but mainly this is just a rose dominant scent. Like, my image of this is if you're laying in a bathtub full of Taif rose petals and you cut open a lemon and just squeeze it on top of yourself in the bathtub. That's basically what you get here. Man, citrusy, jammy rose, extremely well executed. This one was perfumed by Luca Maffei, done a phenomenal job. But yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite rose fragrances. Not one of, this is my favorite rose fragrance and one to check out. Next up, going to the House of Oman Luxury, we have Royal Incense. So yeah, I know you're probably thinking, okay, Curtis, this is an incense fragrance and it doesn't even have any rose in it. Why did you include it on this list? Well, this comes off quite rosy off my skin. Yeah, it doesn't have any rose listed in the note breakdown, but it does have geranium, and geranium a lot of times can come off quite rosy, and that's what's happening here. But that's combined with some beautiful incense. The incense is quite cold, but you have some ambery notes in this fragrance that really help to warm up that incense. There's a bit of honey in here too, which adds a bit of sweetness. But man, what a gorgeous wear this is, and performance is quite beastly off my skin. But it is absolutely gorgeous. But I wanted to also show you guys a layering combination that, this was not my idea. I saw the perfume guy talking about this, Sebastian, and I tried it, and it is amazing. Sometimes I like to delve into layering a little bit. I don't do it often. But sometimes it's fun to do every now and then, just to kind of test things out and kind of see what happens to certain fragrances. But, I just showed you guys Rose de Taif extrait. Layer these two. It is a gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous combination. And the way I usually layer is I'll actually use Royal Incense as the base, just because even though this one is an extrait, this is the more complex fragrance in my opinion. So I put Royal Incense down first, and then I spray Rose de Taif on top of it, just to kind of boost the rosy presence, because I love rose. But yeah, if you have both of these fragrances, it's a beautiful layering combination, but on their own, stunning. But yeah, Royal Incense is definitely a go-to for me, especially in the winter season when you're looking for a rose incensey fragrance with a bit of sweetness. This one is gorgeous. All right, and finally, going to the House of Les Indémodables, we have Rose de Jamal EDP and the extrait. And typically for me, when I wear Rose de Jamal, I always layer it with the extrait. So I'll put the extrait down first, I'll layer this one on top, and it just really helps to extend the longevity of this fragrance and just really give this fragrance a very solid base layer, something for this EDP to sit on. But man, what a gorgeous combination this is. Now, to the maybe novice nose, you won't be able to smell that much of a difference. in these two. But this is a bit more dense and thick. Now, if you were just wearing the extrait on its own, you're not really going to get a whole lot of projection. I mean, it would be extremely intimate. Now, me wearing this, I'm catching whiffs on, but you're not really going to be leaving too much of a trail or anything like that. You might leave a small one, but yeah, so I don't really wear this one a whole lot on its own. I have before, but I do wear the EDP on its own. But this is a beautiful kind of soapy, woody rose. Like, this is rose and cedar wood, and off my skin, the cedar wood really, really pops here. But the rose, in a way, you know, if you were to think of Lyric Man by Amouage, it might put your mindset in a, you know, that type of direction, although Lyric Man and Rose de Jamal are not the same. If you look at, you know, Lyric Man, for me, that's kind of like a pink, slightly transparent rose. This rose in here is a slightly more deeper shade of pink. And then it also has that cedar wood in there. But man, beautiful, beautiful stuff here. And you can see I've really started to put the dent in this bottle. Absolutely love Les de Modab as a fragrance house. They just very high quality natural ingredients, and just, again, their perfumes extremely well executed. And Antoine Lee was the perfumer, I believe, for Rose de Jamal, if I'm not mistaken. He's perfumed quite a few fragrances from the house of Les de Modab. Just done amazing work. Definitely a house to check out if you haven't. But yeah, the combination here is gorgeous, but even on their own, beautiful as well. Definitely, I highly recommend to check these out. All right, guys, so that's all I have for you for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed today's content. And let me know down in the comment section, what are some of your favorite rose fragrances? I'd love to hear about them. Well, I hope you guys are staying healthy and well, and I'll see you in the next video.